Hello, and welcome to our short video series on the upper division writing requirement. This video focuses on creating an outline. An outline is a vital part to the writing process because it gives you a guide of what you need to do in order to complete your paper. So there are a couple different ways to outline. If you are taking a course that requires a memo or brief to satisfy the upper division writing requirement, you know what that should look like. You learned it in LARW 1. You are more than welcome to stop by the library for a refresher on what parts should be included in that. But if you are taking a different class that requires a more scholarly paper, there are a couple different things you should take into account to make sure that you are meeting the requirements of the upper division writing requirement paper. That includes things like including an introduction. What makes a reader want to read what you're writing about? What makes your topic interesting? What is your thesis? What is the point of what you're writing? Why is it an issue, and why should we look into it further as the reader? Make sure to start with that. Draw the reader in. You then want to provide some background. So is there any history to what you're writing about? Is there any groundwork that needs to get laid that will explain the topic that you're writing about in a way that a person who's not an expert in that would understand? You want to make sure to include all of that. You then want to shift over to your analysis, arguably the most important part of your paper, and that this is where the real meat of your legal argument is. This is including things like analyzing the law. Why is it good? Why is it bad? Is there an issue? Is it fixable? Are you comparing and contrasting things? This is where the most in-depth part of your writing should be. Then, if necessary, if it's a little more than a commentary, if you have a solution in mind, include that. Talk about what can you do to solve this problem? What would you suggest? Would you suggest amending a statute, creating a statute, changing the law, changing a process, things like that? If you have that in mind with what you're writing, be sure to add that in. But the paper you're writing may not require that, so keep that in mind that depending on the type of paper you're writing, you may not have a solution to whatever it is you're writing about. And then you want to make sure you end with a conclusion. And that just wraps everything up, kind of reiterates all the big points you want to make, and then leaves the reader on a good note. So then that way they feel like they have gotten something from your paper, they feel satisfied by what they read, and they know more about your subject. And there are a ton of different ways to outline. You want to make sure you're including headings, subheadings, subsections within each of these things to make sure that it flows in a way that builds and makes sense to the reader. It could be something in chronological order, it could be by case, by jurisdiction, or just subjects that make sense for whatever it is that you're writing on. And so just know that that will be more detailed. You can add in, additional sentences, sources, etc. under each of those headings to make sure that, you are giving the most information you can to make it easier to go fill in and actually do the writing at a later date. And if you would like more suggestions on outlining or more examples, please feel free to reach out to the library. We are more than happy to help out in any way we can to make sure that you are successfully outlining. Thank you.